What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back with another video. It's Saturday, so time to go over my favorite plays this week. As always, these Saturday videos are sponsored by the wonderful people over at Underdog. If you agree with any of my takes in this video, and it's fine if you don't, but if you do agree, you want some action this week, head on over to Underdog, sign up for your first account today, use promo code FFA. They will match your first deposit up to $100. That is a free $100 that you can use however you would like. We hit on the 10-1 bet on Thursday night, and it would have been a 20-1 bet, but I pulled the fifth prop. As I was looking into things more, I didn't like Matt Ryan as much. Of course, the game goes overtime. He somehow does end up hitting his over on the passing prop, but I pulled that, so it was a 10-1, not a 20-1. I apologize for that, but we hit on a 10-1. Can't be too mad. Also, yesterday I posted the best ball resurrection rankings. So you know how during the summer you could just download my Underdog rankings from the site directly to Underdog, draft from those. You can do the exact same thing now with their new Best Ball Resurrection tournament. If you hate your team so far for Underdog, if you hate your season-long teams, you don't want to be setting your lineup every week, that contest is going to run week 6 through 17. So if you think you're just cooked on all your Underdog teams, you're like, I drafted terribly, you got a chance now. You can draft all the way up to the beginning of week 6, and then that contest will run week 6 to 17. Again, rankings for that are on the website. So who do we like this week? We've got two 20-1 picks for you guys today, along with a handful of solo plays. So let's hop right into one of the 21s, and that is Eagles at Cardinals. Eagles, they made us sad last week, yet again, going off in the first half, doing nothing in the second half, not being pushed by their opponent. We had some, unfortunate luck with the hurricane rolling through, so not exactly ideal conditions, at least, was a hurricane, wasn't when it was passing by, but it was still terrible conditions. Trevor Lawrence fumbled the ball 4 times. That's weather related. There's no way on average these quarterbacks are fumbling 4 times, just really killed any chance that this game had of being back and forth. This week, it's going to be mid-80s, sunny, no wind in Arizona, so weather should not be of any concern to us. The spread is also moving towards the Cardinals side, indicating Vegas does think that they have a chance of keeping this game close. It's only a 5-point spread right now, so it should be a relatively close game in the second half. And as we've said for weeks now, this Eagles offense is incredible. And if they ever get pushed in the second half of games, which is going to happen at some point, then we want to be all over that stack. We do need to be careful, though. The Eagles, they haven't had to do anything in the second half because their defense is so good. So we don't want to stack up too much of the Cardinals side because, again, the side we like is Philly. If they get pushed, we just need the pieces that are going to push them. So my original pick when I posted the props on Wednesday, hopefully everyone kind of took that when the lines were originally out. Again, I post those on Wednesday on the website. The original line was 263.5 total yards for Kyler. Unfortunately, that's up 21 yards already. Might go even further when this is posted. And then I put question marks next to Rondale Moore because his line wasn't out yet. I was hoping it was around 34, 35. It posted at 40.5. I said I wanted anything under 40, so I don't have that one as much. So I'm going with Marquise Brown over 61.5. And the reasoning is fairly simple with this one. If we want Arizona to push this game and we want this game to go off, who is the piece that unlocks that? Marquise Brown. He is the most likely player on Arizona to hit for a big play. James Conner's not hitting for a big play. Zach Ertz isn't hitting for a big play. Rondale Moore can, but given how they utilize him, it's more unlikely. Marquise Brown is the one that could hit for a 60, 70-yard touchdown. That gets things going. That bumps up Kyler instantly and gives him a great chance of going over. That gets Philly right back on the field. It forces them likely to be more aggressive. I guess it could happen in a 30-0 game and then he hits, but on average, that's going to happen. It's going to be okay, we need to produce now on offense for the Philly side. It's really just a win-win all the way around. And if that's the piece that unlocks it. You want that piece as part of the stack. So 5 picks for this one. Kyler Murray, over 284.5 total yards. Marquise Brown, over 61.5 receiving yards. Jalen Hurts, over 303.5 total yards. A.J. Brown, 75.5 receiving yards. Devonta Smith, 54.5 receiving yards. Again, you want correlation with these picks. Sure, Philly could put the clamps on the Cardinals. This game could disappoint. But you need all 5 to hit. So there's no reason, hedging your bets. There's no reason saying, well, if this doesn't happen, then maybe this will happen. And maybe I can get lucky and this just barely squeaks over. You want to predict a game script and you want to say, what happens if that happens? If Marquise Brown hits deep, if Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown hit deep, this whole game could really start shooting out. And if that happens at a higher rate than the 5% that they're saying, because it's a 20-1 bet, 5% of the time is all we need for this to happen. If you think that happens more than 5% of the time, it's a good bet. So I like that one. The other one I'm excited about is this Bengals at Ravens game. I mentioned this one in the wide receiver start sit video, but the reason I love this game is the potential for the passing attacks this week. The Bengals rank 5th in yards per carry allowed on defense. That's obviously very good, but only 26th in yards per pass attempt allowed. So a pass funnel defense. The Ravens are the single most extreme pass funnel defense. They rank 1st in yards per carry allowed on defense. Obviously, that is fantastic. 32nd in yards per pass attempt allowed. So both these defenses are kind of making teams lean more pass heavy. Then you consider that both of these offenses rank top 10 in pass rate over expectation. So on average, these offenses want to throw the ball anyways. So both teams are best attacked through the air, and both teams throw the ball at an elevated rate already without even factoring in the matchup. Plus, the game only has a 3-point spread that's very close, so it's likely that neither team pulls away. It could happen. We could definitely see a team win by 25. It could always happen in the NFL. Weird things happen. But the most likely outcome is a close game, and we're not going to get one side running the ball just to drain the clock. You're probably going to get a back and forth game. Combine that with the fact that the Bengals' run game has been awful so far this season, and that the Ravens are the team that's favored. And so Cincy at some point is probably going to look at this game and be like, we're trailing, we can't run the ball anyways, they're a great run defense, let's just throw it. And that's probably what's going to happen. So the picks I like in this game are Burrow, over 275.5 passing yards, Jamar Chase, over 71.5 receiving yards, T. Higgins, over 69.5 receiving yards, Lamar Jackson, over 228.5 passing yards, and then Mark Andrews, over 65.5 receiving yards, especially with Bateman banged up. Aside from the 20-1s, what else do we like this week? One is Chris Godwin. He returned last week, ran a billion routes, commanded 10 targets, looked really good when he didn't have his back, kind of tensing up on him, but he returned from that. He said he's all good to go. I'm not concerned at all. Remember, he went down in the game, kind of left. Everyone was like, oh no, did they rush him back? He said his back just kind of tensed up on him. He's going to be good to go. The only risk here is that the Falcons won't be able to really keep up and could also run the ball a lot. So if we get Tampa Bay up 30 in the second half, well, they don't really have to throw the ball at all. Maybe they can work on that ground game in the second half. And then, the Falcons want to run the ball. That's going to drain the clock. That's obviously not good. But 9.5 point spread right now. Also a get right spot for Tampa Bay. And it's not like their ground game has been amazing. So for them to get up enough to where you're worried about the running backs, it's likely the passing game got them there. And so Chris Godwin probably already hit at that point. And then also, the Falcons have already faced an above average plays per game, and that's counting 2 wins and 2 close losses. So you would think if I told you that they love running the ball, they're not going to be like some super, super fast team on offense, that they've won 2 games and 2 games have been close, so that they're they haven't abandoned their general game plan. You would imagine that they faced a below average amount of plays per game because they're running it a lot in all these games, and they have positive game scripts in many of them. And so for them to be allowing an above average plays per game, that gives you more confidence in the Tampa Bay side, because if we're thinking that the only difference in this one is that they're going to be trailing by more, they can run the ball less, have to throw it more, well, that could increase the plays even more for the Tampa Bay side. Also, this is Chris Godwin. This isn't some scrub. He hit the over in 9 of 14 healthy games last season. I only gave him 8.4 projected targets. That seems extremely fair this week. Even giving him that still hits the over pretty easily this week. So I definitely like him. And then as per Lex Miraglia, the Falcons allowed the 5th most receptions to wide receivers last year. And then 7 wide receivers have already gone over 50 yards against them this year through only 4 games. They're not that great at defending wide receivers. This is a huge get-right spot for the Bucs. I love Godwin this week. I also love both of the Patriots running backs. Harris only needs 60.5 rushing yards, and then Stevenson needs 54.5 rushing yards as well. And this one's just easy. I mean, the Patriots want to run the ball regardless. You know, they're not the Bears. They're not San Fran, teams that really love to run the ball, but they love to run the ball. Like, they still really want to be a run-first team. They just, like, aren't fantastic at doing it so far. We think that maybe, like, midway into close the season, they can be a little bit better. They just changed the offense in the offseason, and, you know, it was kind of expected they'd start off a little bit slow, but they want to run it. And then they also are either going to have Mac Jones on, like, one leg or Bailey Zappi at quarterback. Like, they're not going to have good quarterback play. Regardless, again, they want to run the ball on a neutral matchup when everyone's healthy. Now, they either are going to have their 3rd-string rookie quarterback or their very, very injured starting quarterback. They don't want to throw the ball at all this week. And then you look at it, the 3-point home favorites against a Lions defense that ranks last in rush defense DVOA, 28th in yards per carry allowed, and allowed the 3rd most rushing yards per game to opposing teams at 165.5 per game. Harris and Stevenson are both phenomenal plays this week, and I love the over for both of their rushing numbers. I think they can really both hit it. Both of them are way too low. The last one we'll go over today is Gabe Davis. His line is only 45.5 receiving yards. I love the over on that. Crowder has a broken ankle. McKenzie has a concussion. Kumro's already been ruled out. Like, unless, and I really don't think McKenzie's going to play unless he miraculously, passes concussion protocol. Like, he's probably going to be out this week. And so that is likely going to leave 3 wide receiver sets to Diggs, Davis, and Shakir. And I'm not trying to knock Shakir here, but I think everyone can agree that Davis is better than him. Like, again, I like the talent of Shakir. He's still a rookie. He's still young. Like, there's still things he needs to work on. Davis is much, much better than him. Now, in the last 2 weeks, Davis has very clearly been impacted by his ankle injury, and that's just caused him to, not get as high of a target share, not be as good per target. Like, he's been impacted. But it seems like, kind of looking at reports, he's a lot better this week. He's been working his way back. And if he can even be 80%, he just needs to be relatively close to full health, then the line's a joke. I mean, they're going to score points. I know it's a low total game. There's actually potential for wind in this game. It's not a fantastic spot, but it's very, very likely that Pittsburgh is going to do nothing on offense and that Buffalo's going to have the ball all the time and needs 46 receiving yards. He could do that in 2 plays, right? So definitely like the over there. So those are 14 picks I like this week. I have another 13 right now, maybe more when you guys are watching this, listed on the website. Remember, if you haven't signed up for an Underdog account yet, do it today. Use promo code FFA. They'll match your first deposit up to $100. That is a free $100 that you can use to either take the picks that you want or, hey, put some entries into the Best Ball Resurrection tournament. Don't like your teams in redraft. Don't like your teams for Underdog right now. You can start over starting in week 6. So good luck to everyone this weekend. But that, my friends, is in this one. Hope you all enjoy. If you did, how about hitting the like button? And how about subscribing to the channel if you're new here? Thanks for watching.